Well, have a little song I'm going to give you. Well, we're going to record them. I think it's a 3-song shot? 3 songs? Well, we'll record 3 songs for you, Darren, so listen up and write it in. Mountain cock! Awesome.
Welcome back to Speak of the Madmen podcast, number 8. Can't believe we made it to number 8, Joey.
Still here. We're still fighting the good fight. We're still doing what we like to do best, and that's talk about music, heavy metal, rock, and whatever else. Last time we talked a little about skateboarding. Remember that? I mean, just whatever comes in our hearts.
So on today's podcast, just like every podcast, we're going to let Joey ramble about something he has on his mind. Joey's 2 cents. I also have 2 lists I want to go over. One being rock and metal artists with 5 or more platinum albums and 5 of the highest ranking albums or selling albums of all time. But first things first, Joey, what have you been listening to?
All right, well, there's been quite a bit of music I've been listening to, and it's kind of it's wide with the genres. 1 minute, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the band Zeke, Josh.
No.
Band kind of affiliate, sounds like the Dwarves on Epitaph Records. And man, they're just a bunch of maniacs, man. I swear, they play fast, they play loud, they play hard. Unbelievable band. It's just like they're like the Dwarves on speed, And for all you people out there that know Zeke, you know what I'm talking about. What a band! I mean, just the solos, the speed. It's just the same fast tempo throughout the whole song. You gotta listen to them. I mean, it's such a fantastic band. They got their own style. Just fast, hard solos. I'm surprised they're not a lot more popular than they are. But I think they got dropped off of their record label, which was Epitaph, which is kind of a shame because they're such a great band. I think they went through a bunch of member changes, lineup changes with that band. I think the drummer's back, though, Donnie Paycheck. So I think I saw him in a video on YouTube, and he's returned. So yeah, that's a great band that I've been listening to. Kicked in the Teeth, Dirty Sanchez, those albums, and a couple other albums that I really like a lot. But yeah, that band. I like a band called, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Josh, but a band called Brand New. You ever heard of that band? Different genre. They're not heavy metal. They're not heavy metal at all. Uh-huh. They're like a sprawled out from the Taking Back Sunday band. But they're not like that type of, they're not like in that. They kind of doing their own thing. I think they're classified as like, they're more like a rock. I don't want to say experimental. They're not experimental. They're not emo. They used to be like kind of sort of emo in the beginning, but they have really graduated into like something. They have really matured as a band. So anybody who's known about Brand New, they've really matured from the beginning of their album, which I think was I can't even think of their band. It's the one with the chess pieces in the front. Is it a self-titled album or is it? I can't remember. And then you got Deja Entendu, their big album, which was a great album. It brings back a lot of memories because I think the album came out like 20 years ago. I think that the best album that they've ever come out with was The Devil and God Raging Inside Me. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great name for an album too. Huh? The Devil and God Raging Inside Me. I mean, I always liked the album name. And every song on there is just great. I mean, it's probably like you ever listen to a band and then you hear the beginning and they're trying to figure it out, right? They're trying to blossom into this nice flower, and you could tell like they're a little rough around the edges in the beginning, and then after album after album, they're cleaning things up, and before you know it, they've really come to be to their potential. And that's what's great about playing in a band, because you can constantly just work and try to develop your style, and then where your style and who you are it comes. The best way I could put it is it comes to be like who you are, and you only get that by playing and playing and playing and playing constantly, always being playing, but writing songs and just keep writing, and then you start to develop your style of what works with the guys that you're in the band with. Preferably, like if I was to play, I think the biggest mistake I made with my band Trench in the beginning, if I was to do it over again, and that I'm talking about this because just for other musicians out there, just to be different. Don't you have your influences, you have the bands that you like a lot and such, but you don't want to copy them. You want to just have them be influenced. You want to be influenced by them. But you want to have your own thing going, and you want to write your own music, and you want to go in there with the idea that you want to be different, and to be different is the best way to play in a band. And back in the day, I was listening to a lot of Deftones at that point, and we weren't the Deftones. We were something else, and we needed to be that something else. And I needed to have that mindset. And I don't think, at least I know I can speak for myself, I didn't have the mindset to do that. I thought, let me be an imitation of another band. And that's the worst thing you can do, because that band plays the best for who they are. You don't want to be an imitation of your favorite band. You want to be an original of who you are. And so anybody who's playing in a band out there, if I had one advice to give, just be yourself. Be who you are. Come to be on what you do. And it'll come. It'll come. The more you play, the more you write, the more you get comfortable with your bandmates. You'll start to be able to develop your style instead of just don't copy. Don't copy other things. Don't be an imitation of something else, because you're never going to be as good as them. Ever. I try to be the Deftones maybe too much with my writing sometimes. I'm never going to be them. Ever. I'm going to be Trench and what we do best, right? And so that's the mindset I should have had. I didn't have that mindset. I was just not conscious about that. And, it'll hurt you as a band. You'll stay playing. What will happen is you'll stay being a local band forever. And then maybe even being a band where you start blaming everything on everybody else, saying, we're not, it's just, it's who it's, we don't know the right people and all that stuff. BS. If you're a great band, you will be heard, especially these days with everything going on with the YouTube, and you have so much like just media to get your music out there. You will be heard. I mean, people are going to listen to you, and if you're in a great band, it will pick up. It's going to happen more so than when I was playing. We didn't have YouTube. We had to play on the road. It was a lot harder to be get exposure and for people to hear your music. But nowadays, everybody's got a computer. You can just go on your phone and listen to a band. It's so much easier. So if you're a great band and you sound great, you'll be heard. It's not, so don't make any excuses. Just do your thing and be yourself. And if you're a great band, then it's going to work out. But it's right.
There you go.
There you go. That's the best, honest way I can put it. If you got a band member who's just not cutting it and he's hurting you, well, it's time to move on. Get another band member. That's what I would say. Because you're going to have regrets later on. Or tell him, give him some time. Hey, get better. Or we got to find somebody else. But the problem is, when you're out of high school, he's your friend. He's your buddy. So you don't want to do it, right? You don't want to hurt his feelings. And that happens a lot, unfortunately, with a lot of bands. A lot of young bands that, you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to kick them out. It's whatever's best for the band. At least that's my opinion. So,
all right. So all that stemmed from just what you were talking about, the Zeke, huh?
Well, you know what?
What were you listening to?
Okay, so let's go back to what I'm listening to. I was saying Kick in the Teeth. right?
Okay.
So
I'm
and
looking
then
at some of their discography. It looks like Zeke, American hardcore punk band from Seattle, Washington, formed in
yep,
'92. So that's a great time for hardcore. A great time for that Seattle sound. Even the Seattle sound was known for grunge. They do have a good amount of punk bands that came throughout that time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they I don't know how many albums they put out. The great thing about that band too is, and the great thing about punk bands is that when they come around town, you got a couple hundred people in the venue, right? So they're going to just rock their butt off with a small, intimate crowd. It's just only going to be a couple hundred people. You're even going to be able to talk to them. Probably, you're probably going to be able to turn this off for 1 second. But you're probably going to be able to hang out and have beers with them. I know I did last time I saw them. I saw them at the, I think it was at the Alex Bar, and I was able to talk to them and hang out with them. And I guess see that you can do that with punk bands. Can't do that with big heavy metal bands, no. But punk bands, they come around town. There they are at the bar. You go have a couple of drinks with them, and there you go. So yeah, they played.
It looks like Kick in the Teeth, Epitaph, 1998.
Right.
And you said Dirty Sanchez, Epitaph 2000. So they've been around here. Looks like they have since 94 all the way to 2018. They've been around here kicking it.
Yeah, it's a great band. They're still doing it. I think like I said, the drummer's back with the band. I think that the singer's name is like Marky Fletchtone. I think he calls himself. So he's still doing it. He's been doing it since day one, and
blind Marky Fletchtone.
Yeah,
Dizzy Lee Roth.
Yeah, he's
Donnie Paycheck.
Donnie Paycheck is the drummer.
Yes, sir.
And
Mark Pierce.
Well, Mark Pierce was back from
the bass,
the '90s. You know, what I mean, in the 2000s, and then you had I think his name was like Riggs the Third or something like that. I can't remember. Riggs the Third or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guitar player. So that's like that was like probably the best lineup they had, right? But they've evolved, and like I said before, mentioned things happen. Guys have families. They can't tour anymore, and so they can't do the band stuff. That happens with a lot of bands. They go through a lot of lineup changes, and Zeke is no exception. They've been through a lot of lineup changes.
So as you brought up that brand new band, you quickly mentioned Taking Back Sunday, if I remember.
Yeah, see, that's a band that I like as well. Maybe even a guilty pleasure, if you're coming from the heavy metal background. But a band, to me, it's like if a band sounds good, it sounds good. That's all there is to it. And so, I personally like the album "Where You Want to Be." It's just there's just certain things that they're doing that I really like. The band just really meshes well together. The drummer, I really like how he rides the kick drum a lot. I think it sounds really well with the crunchy, heavy guitars. I think the singer has a great voice. It's got they're straight from New Jersey, I think it is, and so they're definitely got the New Jersey sound going on, and they got some heavy rocking songs as well, but they also got some more slow popular songs. I think their guitar player, I think his name was Eddie Reyes or something like that. I don't think he's in the band anymore. No, I'm just talking off the cuff. I'm not looking this off the internet, so this is just off my top of my head.
Okay, so I was in ninth grade when Louder Now came out, and that song "Make Damn Sure," it's called. Yep, "Make Damn Sure." That was on heavy radio play. Everyone listened to that song. That song I do remember was just everywhere. It was in TV, it was in movies, everyone was playing it. It was actually a really catchy song, and that's probably was, that's like one of their most famous songs. That's, a song that everyone knows. I'm sure a lot of hardcore, Taking Back Sunday fans would say, oh yeah, that's like one of not their best because they have other cool ones, but
they
Taking Back
have
Sunday.
Liars in that album, I believe. Spin, I think, is on that album.
Yep.
Yeah, those songs are great.
And the one you were talking about, Where You Want to Be, that very famous was it album cover with the the naked child in the middle of the road is kind of weird, but everyone knows that album.
So here's my question, right? How does that work out? Like you go, hey guys, I got an idea for an album. I was thinking about putting a naked baby on the cover. I'm sure Nirvana can relate to this. I mean, I don't understand where that comes from. Does that come from like their?
I think it's some kind of weird artistic.
I mean, I can't see myself ever saying so. Hey, even getting the idea of let's put a baby walking. I guess.
Yeah,
hey man, more power to you guys. It worked out. Nobody. It's not like it's controversial or anything like that. Nobody was.
But that was Taking Back Sunday. I wish I took them a little bit more seriously at the time. That's like late middle school, early high school for me. And I remember, I think I saw them I half saw them at a Vans Warped Tour. And I didn't really like watch them, but I knew I like half watched them. So I wish I took advantage of while I was watching them to really pay attention to them. They were like at my radar at that time for me a radar of 4. I knew of them. I listened to some of their songs, but I didn't really care for them. But as you said, these are just one of these bands, looking back at their discography, wow, really great classics. At that time, Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance, wow, The Used. Those were all the middle school, high school bands that, were popular at the time.
See, the funny thing is that brand new Jesse Lacey, the guitar player, he branched out. He used to be in Taking Back Sunday, but he branched out, and I would say brand new is not. They're not Taking Back Sunday. They're certainly not. They're a different band. I can't even describe. I would say they're just Jesse Lacey is very artistic with his lyrics, with the music. I would say that they're probably heavily influenced by the Beatles because their music is very intricate. I could tell that they really take their time to think about what they're going to play, what type of background noises they're going to have in their music. Because when they put out an album, they put an album every 7 years or something like that. They don't put out an album like every other year. They put an album like I forgot. There was a long dry spell before they put out an album. I think it was during. Maybe was it from the Devil and God reassigned me to Daisy? I think it was. They take a long time to put on that, which is fine with that's. As long as it's great. If you think it take like 5, 7, 8 years to put it out, just make it good. Make it a great album. Because then that's exactly what they've done. And it's funny because, when they came out with Daisy, there was some songs in there. I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, right? And then after like a couple listens to it, I'm like, okay, I get it. I like it. And then they came out with Science Fiction. And Science Fiction was, at first I was like, listening to it, and then after a while, this stuff. Sometimes some of the songs grow. Some of the songs you like right off the bat, and then some songs take a while to grow on you. So it's interesting. But I think that's their last album. I don't think they have anything else after that. And they just I've seen them. I remember seeing them at the Palladium about 12 years ago. I went down there by myself, and it was a heck of a show. And that's another thing too. Going to a show by yourself, I like it. You just go hang out with people that you
Oh,
meet there and talk to them. You know,
I went to many shows by myself. I enjoyed it.
I don't know. It's not a big deal at all. I mean, you're going to talk to people who are fans that are down there, and after a couple of beers, it's not going to even matter anymore, right? So I've seen them at the Palladium. That was a great show for anybody out there who was at that show at the Palladium. Great band, great place to see a band.
I had to look up where did I see Taking Back Sunday, and it wasn't Warped Tour. It was actually Project. It was Project Revolution, 2007, and they were headlined by Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday, and my favorite band, H.I.M. That's why I went. They also had Mindless Self-Indulgent, Seosin, a band I haven't heard since high school. And yeah, I saw them right here, San Diego, Chula Vista area. And it was nuts. It was fun. I went by myself and I met people. But yeah, I'm like, man, what was that tour? Yep, it was Project Revolution. Very fun, very cool tour.
Yeah, and you saw him there?
Yep. No, it's
what's
the second time I saw.
What's that album called? Something Heartbreak Romance. What's it called? Romance. That Pink.
So the first one, well,
I remember listening to that album.
Some people say it's the first one, but yeah, it'd be Razorblade Romance.
Razorblade Romance. That's what it's called.
The first one, kind of the first one to be called the Greatest Love Song 666, followed by Deep Shadows, Brilliant Highlights, Love Metal, Dark Light.
Yeah, Razorblade Romance. Yeah,
that's we're talking about albums all later right now. 10 for 10, an album that I listened to over and over again since I was 13 years old. I've listened to it every year, multiple times since I've been like 13.
That's cool. That's cool because I went through that same phase listening to an album because it's a great album. He's got, I guess what's his name? Val something?
Villa Vallo.
Villa Vallo, yeah.
That's 10 for 10 in my book. What's my favorite album? I've listened to it so many times.
Isn't that Bam Margera's favorite band or something like that?
Well, at the time, maybe, I don't know now, but for me, it's still mine.
Right. That's you know another band you probably might like, Josh. If you listen to that stuff, you might like Placebo. You ever heard of the band's Placebo?
I think I have, but it's not coming. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's I think the one of the albums I was listening to is called Battle of the Sun. And there's a bunch of others. I think one's called Meds, another album. That album, I'm sorry. So if you like that, if you like Razorblade Romance, I mean, you might like Placebo. So anybody out there who listens to him, listen to Placebo too, because they're not a very. It doesn't seem like they're a very popular band, but you know they're a world touring band. I mean, they have albums that are well known. Well, I don't mean to say like well known. I mean, well known enough to be on Wikipedia and have your album cover on there. But yeah, that's another band who's really impressive to me as well. It's Placebo. Nobody ever talks about them. I don't hear anybody ever talking about them. And you know, they're just a band that sounds really good. They play. I guess the singer is like, I don't know what it's really hard to describe. It's like trying to describe how steak tastes like, you know. It's
everyone has a little bit of musical taste.
Yeah, I can't describe. Just have to listen to them. I mean,
all right. Moving on.
Yeah, so go ahead and you got a list.
I do have a list. This is presented by Loudwire. So I pulled up this list. I found it very interesting. It's 35 rock and metal artists with 5 or more platinum albums. We don't have to go through the entire list. I was actually wanted to go through, look at some of the ones I'm actually surprised by, and I want to see what you think.
All right.
Okay, so this one I'm surprised, but apparently you're not. And we'll start off with the band you are wearing right now, Def Leppard. On Throughout the Night, 1 times platinum. Pyromania, 10 times. That's probably their most successful album. Oh, nope. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's Hysteria with 12 times platinum. Adrenalize, 3 times platinum. And the shirt you're wearing, High and Dry, 2 times platinum.
Okay, let me see. See, that's the thing. I mean, High and Dry, like I was telling you earlier, it just gets overshadowed by Pyromania and Hysteria. Like those songs are great songs and all. That, I mean, every song was good on all those albums, right? But High and Dry is just a lot more rocking album. I mean, straight up raw rocking album. It gets overshadowed. It gets overshadowed. I don't understand why. Well, I guess I understand why. I mean, people like to listen to, stuff that they can understand with choruses and easygoing. I mean, it's a little more. I don't know how to explain it. A little more, just more rocking, but then it's not radio friendly as much, right? It doesn't have big poppy choruses and stuff like that. It doesn't have the sing, but it does. I mean, it's just more of a rocking album. I think it's a better album than On Through the Night. I like that album, the debut album, but I think the songs there's just better songs off of High and Dry. Of course, everybody knows Bring It On the Heartbreak, that song, but there's some other songs that are on there that are just phenomenal to me. So listen to High and Dry. It just put down Hysteria and Pyromania down for a second, okay? They're going to be there, not going anywhere. And, pick up High and Dry, because I tell you, you're not going to be disappointed, but you got to give them a chance. You got to give them a chance. You got to put it in there.
I totally agree. Sounds of late 70s, early 80s Def Leppard. But coming in with 7 platinum albums is a band that I personally like. I'm not sure how you feel about them.
Right.
Korn.
The band Korn?
Yes, sir.
I like
with
the band Korn, man.
Korn, self-titled album, 2 times platinum. Life is Peachy, 2 times. Follow the Leader, introduction to the band. My brother had this album, 5 times platinum. I love that. Issues, three times. Untouchables, 1 time. Take a look in the mirror, 1, and then See You on the Other Side, 1. So they have 7 platinum albums, Korn.
Yeah, I mean, I think their best.
Is it deserved?
I mean, the band is revolutionary. Come on, they made out a whole new genre. I mean, so am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. Well, but here's a question: could they do that now? Back then it was the right timing when they came out, like in the mid '90s. A lot of it has to do with timing as well. I mean, the world was ready for Korn at that time, right? Is the world ready for Korn now? What if they would have come out now with Korn Blind, right? Would they be ready for that song? Would they be ready for that album? I don't know.
And Jonathan Davis' famous tracksuit, very legendary.
Yeah, I mean they had the whole Adidas thing going on at that time. Mm-hmm. Come on, everybody who listened to Korn was buying Adidas stuff. The Puma. They were all about the Adidas and Puma back then. So their dress was a very big part of their image. And so, they came out. I just think that with Korn, they just came out at the right time. It's just that at that time, the scene was ready for that sound. It was ready for something different. They brought something different to the table. They mixed the sort of the hip hop vocals somewhat, the slappy bass. The funky slappy bass with those guitars, and it was just the right timing for them, I think. And then they had all the members were really great with their instruments. They're very innovative, sounded different, and the timing was there, and that's why we're talking about them with this this list that we have is because everything was in the right settings. The stars were aligned perfectly for them.
I totally agree. So once again, this is the 35 rock plus metal artists with 5 or more albums, or platinum albums, excuse me. And I was going through this list. And those are the ones that kind of surprised me. Looking at the rest of the list, I'm like, it doesn't surprise me. These last two, I was like, wow, I can't believe there's that many. First was 7 platinum albums. The Doors. I didn't think they had that many, but The Doors, 4 times platinum.
But name the album. What are the albums from The Doors?
Yeah, there's The Doors. The Doors. So self-titled album, The Doors, 4 times. Album. Strange Days, 1. Waiting for the Sun, 1. The Soft Paradise, 1. Morrison Hotel, 1. L.A. Woman, 2. And then the American Prayer, 1. I didn't think they had that many albums.
You know, The Doors is one of those bands, dude, that, like, you know, they're different. You know what I mean? They're different. I never really got into much in The Doors. They have some songs I do like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. John Morrison, he's a legendary guy, but he's one of these people. Let's just say he has a very big cult following. You're either a really big Doors fan or you're not.
Yeah, I
appreciate the Doors. I appreciate what they've done for history. But yeah, I had a friend who was obsessed with the Doors, and I couldn't get into it.
Don't they call him like the Lizard King or something like that?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
right,
he's
moving on.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You're ready to move on from them. I like they had the song from the Lost Boys. You remember?
I do like that movie.
Yeah. You didn't remember the song?
I probably do. It's just the only.
I don't want to sing it, man.
No, it's the only song I remember is from the Lost Boys. Something. Oh, man, Marilyn Manson covered it, and I thought it was a really cool song too.
Let me see if I can. Oh, what was it? What was it?
Called "Cry Little Sister."
Cry Little Sister.
Come to your brother.
I remember what that song sounds like.
All right, so moving along, and this is the last one.
Well, before that, the song that I was referring to for the Lost Boys, "People Are Strange." Right?
Okay,
remember that song?
Yeah, I probably have heard of it. I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's fine. Move along.
But I was just gonna say, this last band, they're on here. I'm not surprised, but it makes me sick. Nickleback.
Okay, I was gonna guess, but
Nickleback. They have
think of Nickleback,
6 albums in the platinum status.
I think of like, people are gonna Nickleback. I think of like Creed, type of thing.
I'd rather listen to Creed.
I don't know. Nickleback just sounds like people who. It's just. I don't want to say. It's just Nickel. What are the feelings you get when you hear it? You want to go first on this one?
I picture a guy wearing tight jeans, Affliction shirts, drinking Coors Light. Who drive a pickup. That's about it.
I think of Nickelback as somebody who also listens to country music too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
They think Nickelback is like hardcore.
Yeah, and I think about also like, maybe you might be a church enthusiast too if you look at Nickelback. I get that vibe. I don't listen to Nickelback. They're like kind of like. I think like
all I know is they have that
3
song
Doors Down too.
Yeah, I mean 3 Doors Down. 3 Doors Down at least had that one cool song, Kryptonite.
Yeah, how many times have I heard that at the bar, right?
That's still a bop. I still like that song.
Right, but then see that when they were playing that song at the bar, Josh, you were probably like what, 15 or something like that?
I think it came out when I was like 8.
Oh man, dude, you were like 8 years old when I was storming the bars. Anyway, so right. Nickelback, huh? Okay,
that's. I'm like, all
right, whatever you say.
Okay, well, those are the ones that surprised me, and here's the ones that obviously don't surprise me. Rush, they have 10 platinum albums.
Yeah, Rush.
Metallica, 10.
Yeah. Although, old Metallica is better than new Metallica. I think we've had this conversation before.
It's hard, I've yet to find someone who says from Load on is the best Metallica ever.
I think you get a beat down from old Metallica. I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement,
Yes, sir. One of our namesakes here, Ozzy with 8. I'll go through some of his last albums right here. Obviously, Blizzard of Oz 5 times platinum, Diary of Madman 3, Bark at the Moon 3, The Ultimate Sin 2.
Yeah.
No Rest for the Wicked 2.
Yeah, that's
No More Tears 4.
Yeah, well, because No More Tears was a big hit song.
Mm-hmm.
That was they played that song all the time on the radio. But go ahead.
Well, and then just Osmosis 2, and then Down to Earth 1. That was actually the first Ozzy album I remember hearing.
Really? The first album you heard was Down to Earth out of everything said and everything else? Wow.
No, that was my first Ozzy. That was my first Ozzy album because my brother had it, and I remember like looking at him. This looks kind of scary because it was just the cover of a guy on like this.
Oh man, you know what's fun? It's just we talk about Diary of Madman. We talk about Blizzard of Oz, but man, there's Ultimate Sin, and there's No Rest for the Wicked, and there's what's the other one?
No More Tears. Osmosis.
No. Not the other Jakey Lee album. Ultimate Sin, Bark at the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Those albums always get overshadowed by, of course, because Randy Rhoads, right? They're going to get overshadowed. But they kind of they kind of sound good in their own right. If you just, especially No Rest for the Wicked, when Zakk Wylde first came in, that album is like every song just kicks butt, every song. So I don't know. I mean, it kind of it just kind of gets. Oh, I think Ozzy. I don't even think he thinks much about those. He probably doesn't even remember those at this point. Those albums just kind of just went, and then Just Say Ozzy too. They don't even get talked about much, so it's just kind of unfortunate because Jakey Lee did some great work. With those albums, and then Zakk Wylde, I think some of his great work is on No Rest for the Wicked. That album, I think it came out in '88, something like that. Every song is good. You got Miracle Man, Bloodbath in Paradise. Can't name all those songs off the top of my head, but I want to give a big shout out to No Rest for the Wicked. I absolutely love that album. Probably more than The Ultimate Sin. And more than Bark at the Moon. Although Bark at the Moon's a good album too, but No Rest for the Wicked is, I'm going to have to say, Zakk Wylde's album with No Rest for the Wicked might have overshadowed Jakey Lee.
Those are fighting words.
No, you know what? It's just the way it is.
Okay, so all right, you want to bring it up? No Rest for the Wicked, Ozzy Osbourne album. Number track listing. Let's go. Miracle Man, number 1. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that song's about Jimmy Swaggart, the evangelist church going guy, but how much of a fool he is.
You have Devil's Daughter, Crazy Babies. Oh, a song. Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Breaking all the rules. Breaking all the rules.
Breaking all the rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
Breaking all the rules. Yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah, you're right. That song is really nice.
Yeah,
Bloodbath in Paradise. Bloodbath in Paradise.
Fire.
No. Fire in the Sky.
You're going too fast, dude. I got to rock out on these songs before you're going too fast. So Fire in the Sky. Yeah, that's a great song too. Go ahead.
Tattoo Dancer.
Yeah, that's another. That's getting towards the end of the album, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only 9.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
those are 9 great songs though.
Demon, Alcohol, and Hero.
Yeah, I don't. You know, I forgot how that the tail end of that album goes. I just know. Was it Demon Alcohol? I can't remember
Demon
how Demon
Alpha.
Alcohol goes off the top of my head. I'll be honest with you. But I pretty much know like familiar with 90% of that album. And you know, for all you metalheads out there, we know Ozzy Osbourne. I hope you don't know Rest of the Wicked. Okay, and if you don't, you get to know it. You know, after this podcast because it's not. But then again, you know, I don't know. Maybe you had to be born at that time because what am I? 10 years old at that time. It was like the perfect timing for me to have that album. So I don't know. Nowadays, people are
1988.
influenced by nowadays people are influenced by different things. See that type of style, it might not be really in style anymore. That type of '80s type of guitar playing, you know, and stuff. I mean, maybe it was a time and place you had to be there, and that goes for a lot of music. You have to be there to like it, and it's not the right time and place. Maybe Kiss, like Kiss is another band. You got to be there, right place at the right time, growing up, and that's why you like it. Nowadays, it's like it doesn't really go along with the modern day now anymore. You know, so it's just
What?
the way it is with music.
I mean, well, you brought up Kiss. I'm looking at Kiss right here with 7 platinum albums. It's a band I enjoy. Destroyer with 2, Rock and Roll Over 1, Love Gun 1.
Well, when you
Dynasty
say Left
1.
Guard, it reminds me of Detroit Rock City, right? With
Yep.
what's his name from Terminator?
Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong. I love Edward Furlong, man. He had a little problem with alcohol and drugs, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I hope he does well. He's, you know, because he was a big icon when I was growing up.
That is a movie that they can't replicate that time. They did it perfect when that movie came out, representing a time. They can't do it now. It's such a great movie. Detroit Rock City. Anyone, please watch that movie. Find it, stream it. Detroit Rock City with Edward Furlong. It is a very cool.
Yeah,
and I still use the word Stellas for girls that are weird.
You know what? We could do a whole podcast on movies that would never come to be today. You know, they just could not be made, right? We can do. I say we do another podcast just on that because there's a lot of movies on there that I watched. There's no way this would be acceptable now. You know? Nobody raised a fuss back then. Nobody said anything about it, but now it's a deal. Now it's a big deal. So we can do a whole podcast just on that. Go ahead. So next album, next band. I mean.
Oh well, I was just gonna move on because we had a little tangent. You know, just a couple of bands, but yeah, obviously, moving along. Let's go to this last list that I found very interesting. As you guys continue to watch this podcast, you know that I'm a big fan of lists. I don't know why, I just am. So bear with me. So this list, I found it on the richest 5 highest selling rock albums of all time. This little guessing game for good old Joseph. Coming in at number 5. Do you have a guess?
You said the 5 most selling. You said,
yeah,
of all time.
Actually, it'll probably be hard to guess the artist. So I'm gonna see if you can guess. I'm gonna see if you can guess the album. See if you can guess the album of the artist. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So number 5 of the best-selling rock albums of all time. Guess what's Led Zeppelin's best-selling album?
Is it Led Zeppelin 1?
Is that your final answer?
That's probably not right then. What is it? Don't they have like Led Zeppelin 2 too that they call 2? And I'm gonna go Led Zeppelin 2.
And you are incorrect. Led Zeppelin 4, Stairway to Heaven, obviously.
Oh, is that where Stairway to Heaven lies?
Yes, sir. It was a little black dog.
Darn. Yeah, see, I'm not familiar with the albums. I just know the songs. I never really sat there and looked at their album and their artwork and then like read it. I just never really did that.
Okay, let's
was
see.
Always in the background for me.
Yep. All right, so let's see. Would you want the album or the band?
Do I want you to tell me the album or the band?
And see if you can guess the opposite.
Tell me the album. Let's do one with the album first.
Okay. Coming in at number 4 of the greatest selling rock albums. This album is called, or goes by, Rumours.
Rumours? Oh, man. It's quite embarrassing, man, if I can't get, if it's not coming to me right off the bat.
I don't know if you actually listen to this band, but they have very many soundtracks. I'll give you one of their tracks.
They have soundtracks?
I'll give you one of their tracks, Landslide. Over 40 million copies sold.
Really? 40 million? Rumours. And they do a lot of soundtracks.
Well, it's one of their tracks is Landslide.
Oh my God, Rumours, that doesn't even come to mind. Oh,
you give up?
Landslide. Yeah, I give up.
It's probably a band you don't listen to. Rat. I wish it was Rat.
We gotta talk about Rat, man.
All right, it's actually Fleetwood Mac, considered a rock album.
Does that have Rihanna on it?
I don't know, but yes, they are the group producing it. Stevie
Nicks, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I there's no way that I was gonna get. I'm not that upset.
All right.
It's just a band that I just don't really have come
that's understandable
together with. We just never came together. Okay. Sorry, Fleetwood.
Coming in at number 3, this one is either way you're gonna get it. I think it was released in 1977. Quickly became one of the top albums of the era. So either way, it's one of these. All right, you want the name of the album, or you want the name of the artist, and you have to guess the album?
Give me the album.
Oh, this is so easy. Bat Out of Hell.
Oh, isn't that the hell's his name, dude? Didn't he just is Meatloaf?
Yes, sir, Meatloaf.
Oh man, that came out in 1977.
Yeah,
really?
It was released in 1977. Yeah,
he just passed not too long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. Rip to Mr. Meatloaf. It says right here, Meatloaf is one of the top selling rock albums of all time. Notable rock anthems of all time. Yeah.
Meatloaf. See, when you think about rock bands, you don't think about Meatloaf. Who the hell thinks about Meatloaf?
Classic album. All right, so these are the last 2. Album or artist?
All right, give me. Okay, we'll try the artist.
Okay.
Harder that way, but
I don't know. We'll get this one. This one is okay. This is the 8th studio album. I think I gave it away if you knew the number, but it's Pink Floyd. Do you know what album I'm talking about? What album?
The Wall.
Hold on. So the record has sold over an incredible 45 million copies since its release. Are you still saying The Wall? Are you still staying with The Wall?
A bunch of beds. Hold on a second. They have that album with. They got that album with those 2 faces.
The 2 faces.
They got The Wall, right? I mean, that's like the most popular song that they have. It has to be The Wall. I'm going to go with The Wall.
And you are incorrect. This goes to The Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have my eBay store. I sell their stickers all the time. I see it's got the little hologram looking thing, you know.
Yes, sir.
But I just couldn't remember. I'm getting older. Like you said,
I mean,
I'm getting older.
you weren't wrong. The Wall. I mean, Pink Floyd has a crapload of albums that are considered some of the greatest.
See, that's another band that's kind of like you're in that territory. You know, Pink Floyd people are really. It's almost like a cult following. Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely was Pink Floyd.
I really like that song "Money." Doom, 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 doom. It's got the cash register. I always love that song.
All right, Joey.
Yeah, go.
Let's go for the last. This is considered the greatest selling rock album. We can say it's in our category of music. So I'm not gonna say it's gonna be like, you know, it's not gonna be like a Fleetwood Mac or Pink Floyd. This is in our category basically. I'm trying to think.
Give me the artist. Oh wait, hold on a second before you do anything. You give me whatever you think is best. How's that?
Oof, because I was gonna say the name of the album, you'll get it. The band, you might not, but even it sold over 50 million copies worldwide,
Jesus,
and it holds the title of the second greatest selling record of all time after Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Are you kidding? Let me think of one big.
This is the first album. I'm trying not to give it away.
Yeah, don't give it away.
How should I say this?
Come on, man.
All right, it'll be easy. You'll get it. It's a Bon Scott album.
It's a Bon Scott album. You're talking about Back in Black.
Who sings it? Obviously,
ACDC.
There he goes. He got one. He's got one.
No, that's wow. Bon Scott, man. That was that guy. He sure was a rock star, wasn't he? Then he went out.
Well, actually, yeah. When poor Bon Scott, technically, the little thing right here, it says, due to the fact that this was the first album that vocalist Brian Johnson appeared on.
Yeah.
After the death of singer Bon Scott.
Yeah, that album is just it's there. It's that. I mean, that's the band we talked about where you have a replacement singer come in, and then you put out an album that's got what was it? The first or second most selling album.
The second best selling album.
Yeah, so if you got to replace your singer
after another great legendary album, which is Thriller, Michael Jackson. But yeah, wow, ACDC knocks that out of the park with Back in Black.
Yeah, I mean that's so anybody bands out there who need to replace their singer, hey, don't lose hope. And then Michael Jackson.
I mean that's an album worthy of its own podcast, Thriller. And what it did for 1980s? Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's not like Michael Jackson underrated either. He's much as popular as he is, because I don't think he's popular and he's great and he's popular, and so it matches.
I'm just always thinking, man,
he's
okay. If Michael Jackson's record, I mean, even this long, 50 million. Imagine if each one cost $10. Jesus.
I mean, you can't do that these days anymore, right? That's why it's like all these albums are going to be old albums, because back then, He made a lot of money selling albums. But, that's an interesting Back in Black. That's top of the mark right there. So, it's even higher than all the Metallica albums, huh? Not all the Metallica albums, but I'm talking about each individual one. I mean, none of it. Like, what's the highest Metallica album selling? Highest Metallica selling album?
Oh man, that'll be another list I'll have to find.
Yeah, like which one's? I mean, it can't be that hard to find, right? Highest selling Metallica album at this point.
Let's see.
But then again, it's like you can't. I mean, it's gonna be the Black Album, right? It has to be the Black Album.
That's most likely that one.
Yeah, why even type it up, dude? It's the Black Album. By far, right? It's like further than the Master. So you have Master of Puppets, which is the holy grail for Metallica fans, right? But then you get the Black Album that overshadows Master of Puppets, and that's part of the. God, it's pretty much the entry level to their sound.
Okay, I found it.
It's still a great album. I mean,
obviously,
I love Black Album.
It's not surprising. Here's a little tidbit: Metallica Black Album number of sales.
How many sales?
28.3 million.
Do you know why? I bet you because of 97 the internet came around, so it killed their thunder a little bit, probably. Because had the internet came out maybe 10 years after that, it would be more records probably that they would have sold for that album. Because that album was really they had back then they had 4 or 5 production videos. Huh?
Hey, you were one of the original people who are in this 28.3 million.
Yeah, I bought the album, definitely. I remember being at Tower Records, sitting on the ground like Indian style, waiting for the record to come out release day. And the funny thing is, a lot of people that I worked with weren't even born at that time. I mean, you were how old were you? You were probably, were you 80? Were you 89?
Nope, 90.
Yeah, so therefore, the record came out 91. You were 1 year old when I'm sitting there waiting for the money.
Yeah, I was 1 and 3 months old.
I'll tell you, it was a great time. Great time for music, But anyways, what a list. That was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. Thank you for going through my insanity of lists. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this podcast. It's a little bit different style, but we try to adapt. We try to make it fun. Joey, any last words before we sign off here?
Yeah, if you're playing in a band, be original. Be you. Don't try to copy other. It came to my mind. Just develop yourself. Be an original.
There you go. Be original. The words of Joey. All right, thank you, everyone. Please make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube. Please leave us a comment, all that good stuff, and we'll be back.